Good afternoon, students. Hope you are all well. Stay at home and see this video. It will help you to see the heart. I will try to show you the specimen of the heart. Now, starting from the anatomical position, you have to hold the heart such a type that the apex will look downward, forward and little bit towards the left, and the base will look posterior. So if I have to say what is this, this is a specimen of heart consisting of the great vessels along with this covering, that is the fibrous pericardium. Now what is the pericardium? It is nothing but a covering of the heart which will hold the heart in its position. It has two parts, one is fibrous part, another one is serous part. The serous part, it is being again consisting of parietal part and viscera. Now come to the proper viscera, that is the heart. So heart, as I told you before, that it has one apex, and thus just opposite the apex we will call it the base. This part is the base. This part is the base. This is the base of the heart, consisting mostly of the atrium. Now apex, as I told you before, that it will look slightly forward, downward and towards the left. We will have to know this position in our body, and please try to give the answer that in our body where we will feel the apex be. Now come to the base. The apex is mainly consisting of the left ventricle. Now come to the base. I am holding the base towards you, but actually it should lie posteriorly. Now this part is the base. This part is the base. It is consisting of atriums mainly. It is consisting of atria mainly. This one is the left atrium, this one is the right atrium. Now base is being consisting of left atrium 2/3 portion, right atrium 1/3 portion, along with its right sided auricle. This ear-like projection is being named as the auricle. This one is the right auricle, and this is the left auricle. This one is the right auricle and this is the left auricle. So I am again coming towards the base. Base is the quadrilateral structure. Now above, as we can see, there is great vessel. Below there is a groove. This is a groove. This groove is named as the coronary groove or atrioventricular groove, as because this is the atrium and this is the ventricle. In between these two, this is the atrioventricular groove. Within this line the coronary sinus. That's why it is also named as the coronary groove. So above the base we are getting the great vessels, below the base we are getting the coronary groove. In the right side of the base, it is actually formed by the right border of the heart. The right border of the heart is being known as the line joining the superior vena cava opening through the inferior vena cava opening. The right border of the heart is being named as the line joining the superior vena cava opening towards the inferior vena cava opening. And the left border of the base is being named as the line joining the upper and lower pulmonary veins of left side. This one is the upper pulmonary vein opening, this will be the lower pulmonary vein opening. So this line is the left border of the base, not the left border of the heart. This is the left border of the base. Okay, so base, it is a quadrangular structure. Above we will get the great vessels, below we will get the groove, that is the atrioventricular groove. Right side we are getting the right border of the heart. Right border of the heart is being a line joining the superior vena cava opening with the inferior vena cava opening, and left sided we are getting the left border of the atrium, not the left border of the heart. It is the joining of the line with the upper pulmonary venous opening to the lower pulmonary venous opening. Now what are the features of the base of the heart? first and most important thing will be the superior vena cava opening. This is the superior vena cava opening. This is the superior vena cava opening, and here we are getting the inferior vena cava opening. Here we are getting the inferior vena cava opening. So this is the superior vena cava opening. This is the inferior vena cava opening. These two things are the main thing of the base of the heart. In the left side, we are getting the openings of the pulmonary veins. In the left side, we are getting the openings of the pulmonary veins. We are getting actually the 4 pulmonary venous opening. Actually, I am not getting the 4 vein opening because the specimen is not so good. Here I can show you. This one is 1 pulmonary vein opening, and most probably this one is another, and it is a cut portion, so I can't show you the another 2. So these are the main thing in the base. Now come to the what are the borders and surfaces of the heart. There are 3 borders and 3 surfaces in the heart. First one I have already described you, that is the right border of the heart, that is cut. This is the right border of the heart. The right border of the heart is being, sorry, not that one. This one will be the right border of the heart, the line joining the superior vena cava opening and the inferior vena cava opening. This is the right border of the heart. Now come to the inferior border of the heart, that is the most specific border of the heart. It is starting from the inferior vena cava opening. In the lower aspect, we are getting this one will go up to the apex. This border is the inferior border of the heart. This border is the inferior border of the heart. It is coming from the inferior vena cava opening and going up to the apex of the heart. Now last one is the left border of the heart. Now please think that this is the left border of the heart, not the left border of the atria. I am again telling you, this is the left border of the heart. The left border of the heart, it is coming from the left auricle up to the apex of the heart. The left border of the heart, it is coming from the left auricle up to the apex of the heart. It is somewhat rounded. So I am again telling you, there are 3 borders of heart. There are 3 borders of heart. First one is the right border. Right border is the line joining the superior vena cava opening and inferior vena cava opening. Next one is the inferior border. Inferior border is the border that is coming from the inferior vena cava up to the apex of the heart, and last one is the left border that is coming from the left auricle of the heart up to the apex of the heart. So these 3 are the 3 borders of the heart. Now come to the surfaces of the heart. First one, this is the sternocostal surface. Now why it is named as the sternocostal surface? Because above it lies the sternum and also the costal cartilages and the ribs. So this is the sternocostal surface. By the surface that is present over my hand, it is the diaphragmatic surface. Why diaphragmatic surface? Because it will rest over the central tendon of the diaphragm. That's why this is the diaphragmatic surface. And if you see, you can see that between these two, we can see another surface. This is the left surface of the heart. This is the left surface of the heart. So first thing is the sternocostal surface, next one is the diaphragmatic surface, and third one is the left surface. If I hold the heart in this way, then this will be the left surface. Now I am telling you how to hold it in the anatomical position. First you will see this is the apex, then this is the apex, then just opposite the apex you will see in the posterior aspect this is the base, you will see the posterior aspect this is the base, so this is the anterior, this is the posterior. Now above and below this surface, this is the diaphragmatic surface. The diaphragm will lie below the heart, so the diaphragmatic surface will be inferior, and sternocostal surface it will lie just opposite the sternum, so it will lie above the heart, so it will lie like this. So this is the anatomical position of the heart. Apex will lie anteriorly, base will lie posteriorly. posteriorly sternocostal surface above, diaphragmatic surface below, and you have to hold in between the thumb and the index finger, you have to hold the apex in this position. So this is the anatomical position of the heart. Now come to the what are the specific features of the sternocostal surface. Now this sternocostal surface, it is actually formed by some part of the right atrium, some part of the right ventricle, some part of the left ventricle. Around 2/3 part of the right ventricle and around 1/3 part of the left ventricle will consist of the sternocostal surface. Now above the sternocostal surface, we can see this is a groove in which we can see one artery is going down. This is the atrioventricular groove. Now this atrioventricular groove, this is the anterior atrioventricular groove. Which structure will lie in this? This will be your homework. Please see in the book which structure will lie in the anterior atrioventricular groove. Now next is the diaphragmatic surface. Now in the diaphragmatic surface, we can see there is another groove. This groove also contains some artery, some vein. Now which thing will present in this groove? This is also your homework. You will see and then answer it, which thing will lie within this posterior interventricular groove. Sorry, this one is the anterior interventricular groove, this one is the posterior interventricular groove. Along with we have atrioventricular groove. Atrioventricular groove means the groove which is exist in between the atrium and ventricle. Atrium and ventricle. So this is the atrioventricular groove. This is the atrioventricular groove. This one is the atrioventricular groove. This one is the atrioventricular groove between the atrium and the ventricle. This is the atrioventricular groove. Now come to the atrioventricular groove. This atrioventricular groove, it is actually a C-shaped groove like this. This is the C-shaped groove. Why? Because anteriorly we are getting the pulmonary trunk in front of it. That's why it is a C-shaped groove. Posteriorly it is continuous. Anteriorly it has two parts, left part and right part. If I hold it in the anatomical position, then it will be helpful for you. This will be the left part, this will be the right part, and this is the proper shape. So this is the atrioventricular groove. That means it is existing between the atrium and the ventricle. Now atrioventricular groove is also named as the coronary groove, as because here lies the coronary sinus. Along with that, anteriorly in the right side we are getting the trunk of the right coronary artery, and in the left side we are getting the trunk of the left coronary artery along with the circumflex artery. So these are the things that will lie in the coronary groove or the atrioventricular groove. Now come to the interior portion of the right atrium. Now if we have to cut the right atrium, then we have to cut it along its right border. That means the line joining the superior vena cava with the inferior vena cava. This is the line through which we have to cut it. Now in this specimen I can't show you the whole things, because in the right atrium, in the posterior aspect, we should get a groove that is named as the sulcus terminalis. So we can get a groove or a sulcus type structure that is named as the sulcus terminalis interiorly, that is being continuous with the crista terminalis. And also we are getting some impression of the attachment of the interatrial septum. As before I have told you that two atria has been separated from each other by the interatrial septum. Now come to the interior of the right atrium. Now if we see properly, then we can see there is a smooth part, there is a rough part. You can see in the gross structure, if there is a smooth part, this is a rough part. This is the smooth part, this is the rough part. This smooth part is being named as the sinus venosus, and the rough part is named as the atrium proper. The smooth part is named as the sinus venosus, and the rough part is being named as the atrium proper. The smooth part and in between the smooth part and rough part we should get a shield-shaped ridge being named as the crista terminalis. We should get a shield-shaped ridge that is named as the crista terminalis, but we can't get it over here. Crista terminalis. This part is the rough part and this is the auricle. This is the auricle, which is being consisting of the muscular part of the rough part of the atrium. These muscle fibers are being named as the musculi pectinati. Now in the smooth part we will get some features. In the smooth part we will get some features. First thing is the crista terminalis. Next part we are getting the opening of the coronary sinus. This is the opening of the coronary sinus. I am just trying to show you. This is the opening of the coronary sinus. If I give the probe through it, then it will go towards it. So this is the coronary sinus. This is the coronary sinus. So this is the opening of the coronary sinus. Next thing is the opening of the inferior vena cava, and this is the opening of the superior vena cava. As I told you before, this is the opening of the superior vena cava, this is the opening of the inferior vena cava, and this is the opening of the coronary sinus. Now if we see very minutely, we should see some miniature foramina within this sinus part or this smooth part. This is being named as the foramina minimum. This is being named as the foramina minimum. The smooth part is being named as the sinus venosus, and the rough part is being named sinus venerum, and the rough part is being named as the atrium proper. The smooth part is the sinus venerum and the rough part is the atrium proper. Now the interatrial septum. Now the interatrial septum. So this is the interatrial septum. This is the interatrial septum. This one is the right atrium. This one is the left atrium. So this is the interatrial septum. In the right side of the interatrial septum, this fossa you can see. This is the fossa. This is the fossa ovalis. This is the fossa ovalis. This is the fossa ovalis, and along its border, this is the limbus fossa ovalis. This is the limbus fossa ovalis. This thing is the limbus fossa ovalis. Along its anterior, superior and posterior border, we are seeing there is a ridge just around the fossa ovalis. This is the limbus fossa ovalis. Okay. There are very much other things to show, but here we can't get properly. The next one will be the triangle of Koch. The next thing is the triangle of Koch, that is present within the triangular area bounded in front by the base of the septal leaflet. Before that, I am showing you, this is the atrioventricular groove. This thing is the atrioventricular groove. This thing is the atrioventricular groove. This thing is the atrioventricular groove. Now you can see that in this groove there are some leaflets are present. Some leaflets are present. In this groove there are some leaflets are present. This one is septal leaflet, and these two are the another leaflet. This is the tricuspid valvular system. So here we are seeing three leaflets. So this is the atrioventricular septum. This is the atrioventricular septum, and these are the cusp. These are the cusp. These things are the cusp. Now this will be the septal cusp. This will be the septal cusp. So in case of triangle of the Koch, we are getting the boundary. It is the bounded in front by the base of the septal leaflet of the tricuspid valve, behind by the anteromedial margin of the opening of the coronary sinus, anteromedial margin of the opening of the coronary sinus and above by the tendon of Todaro, which is a subendocardial ridge extending dorsally from the central fibrous body to the left horn of the valve of inferior vena cava. Now I can't show you the tendon of Todaro. This will be the opening of the inferior vena cava. So if I show you the triangle of Koch, it will be here. Just like this. This is the septal leaflet. This will be the opening of the inferior vena cava, and here we are getting the opening of the coronary sinus. So this area will be the triangle of Koch. This area will be the triangle of Koch. Now next thing is the torus aorticus. Here before that I am tell you that here lies the AV node. Within the triangle of the Koch, we are getting the AV node lodges within this triangle. That is the importance of the that is the importance of the triangle of Koch. Here is the area for the AV node of the heart. Now come to the atrium proper. Atrium proper communicates with the right ventricle through the right atrioventricular orifice. The opening is oval in shape, permits usually the tips of 3 fingers and guarded by the tricuspid valve. This area of right atrium is known as the vestibule of the tricuspid valve. That means this one is the vestibule of the tricuspid valve. The plane of the orifice is almost vertical, so the blood flows almost horizontally from right atrium to right ventricle, from right atrium to the right ventricle. So this is the interior of the right atrium. Now come to the interior of the right ventricle. Interior of the right ventricle consisting of 2 parts, inflowing rough part or inflow tract or ventricle proper, and outflowing smooth part, which is known as conus arteriosus or infundibulum. I am telling this in the right ventricle. So this is the interior of the right ventricle. It is the inflow tract, means the blood flow within the ventricle. This is the inflow tract, and this is being named as the ventricle proper. And the outflowing smooth part, that is continuous with the pulmonary trunk. This is the outflowing smooth part. And this is named as the conus arteriosus or infundibulum. Now, right atrioventricular orifice or tricuspid valve. If I show you from this side, so this is the valve system. This is the valve system. This is being consisting of cusp, and these are the body tendinae and papillary muscles. We are getting, this is the first thing, we have the tricuspid annulus. Right atrium, this is the tricuspid annulus. It is a collagenous ring succeeding the orifice where the bases of the cusp are attached. So this is the tricuspid annulus. The bases of the cusp are attached here. Now come to the leaflets or cusp of the valve. There are 3 leaflets or cusp in the valve. This one I already show you. This is the septal leaflet, and another, it is been torn. I can't show you. Now come to the chordae tendon. These are the endothelial covered collagenous threads. That are collagenous threads that join the cusp with the papillary muscles. So these are the chordae tendineae. It has 2 varieties, false and true chordae. The true chordae connect the apical third of the papillary muscles to the free margins and ventricular surface of the tricuspid valve complex. They help in valve closure during systole and prevent the turning of the leaflets towards the atrium. Now come to the papillary muscles. The wall of the inflow tract is rough and presents the trabeculicarny, which consists of ridges and papillary muscles. Now these things are the papillary muscles. Where the chordae is being attached, and these things are the ridges and bridges being named as the trabeculicarny. The papillary muscles are nothing but the conical projections. These are the conical projections, usually 2 to 3 in number, anterior and posterior. So this is the infratract or ventricle proper of the right ventricle. Now come to the outflow tract. It is named as the conus arteriosus or infundibulum. This is the outflow tract being named as the conus arteriosus or infundibulum. The apex of the infundibulum presents the pulmonary orifice. So this is the pulmonary orifice. This thing is the pulmonary orifice. This is the pulmonary orifice. This is circular and guarded by 3 semilunar valves. This is circular and guarded by 3 semilunar valves. These are the valves. This is guarded by the 3 semilunar valves. Semilunar cusps. 2 in front and 1 behind. This one and this one is in front and one is behind. So this is all about the structure of the gross structure and interior of the heart. If you have any problem, then please contact with us. Thank you.